In this video I just wanted to offer some final thoughts on this guide rig that we've been making. So here's what your final arm setup is hopefully going to look something like. And I've just laid some keys down here, so I'll play that and loop it while I'm talking. As this plays, you're going to see some intersections between muscle groups, and we don't actually mind some intersections between our posed muscles. In fact, a bit of penetration should be encouraged because the cloth sim's going to handle it pretty well, actually. And we'll turn on the volume preserving algorithm in the cloth settings, so we should see the muscles get pushed around quite nicely. We don't really want any intersections, any self-intersections if we can help it though. I haven't found them to be useful in the same way that intersections between different objects are. And they're just generally a bit problematic, causing things like trapped vertices and the like. There are some intersections that I wanted to talk about in here. Let's stop that. In this tendinous part of the muscle here. And this amount of intersection's fine. The solver's going to push the stuff back off the lower extremity of the humerus here, and there's another one underneath, and it's just going to stack up all this tendinous material quite nicely. So just to give you an idea, and as the wrist twists you start to see a bit more. I'll bring that one back. So all this stuff is totally fine, and it's going to look quite good actually when it's all solved. Now, there's a lot of muscles in the forearm, obviously, and I've seen Maya muscle setups where they've just used 2 muscles in the forearm, and obviously, you know, there's a lot more than 2, and I haven't even modeled them all for this setup, so I just used Google image search and looked up Gray's anatomy of the forearm, and you'll get some pretty useful diagrams which look a bit like this. And then from here you can sort of identify the most significant muscles, like, well, this is what I did anyway, which basically meant the biggest ones. And then I went to that database that I mentioned earlier with the OBJs and tried to find the ones that I'd identified. And most of them were there, which was pretty good. So yeah, once again, I'll give that link in the tutorial notes. What else? Finally, the muscle rig that you make on its own is actually pretty fast. So once you're done with the muscle rig, which is this is the guide rig, as part of your production pipeline, you could give this to an animator. So they get a pretty good idea of what the poses are going to look like. And they'll also see why the character, you know, looks a bit shit when they start translating FK controls around, FK elbow controls around. So, yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. All right. Well, that's it for the guide rig stuff. We're going to get into actually committing this stuff to cloth and solving out some muscles in the next video. So, all right.